This is Bayon's set, the skin changer. So no, I only popped in one day just to have a look because I remember them. They had the big Highland cows in the studio. These enormous animals with big horns, just walking around the set, which was quite funny.
Right. Had you been to New Zealand before?
Nope, never. New Zealand is just a special place. The people are very special, and there's so much to do on your time off when you're there. So.
What were some of the things that you guys did when they called martini? You guys grabbed grog. What exactly do you do?
Well, if I had more than like a few days off, I'd go somewhere. And one day, I had a week off at one point, and I travelled down to the South Island from Wellington over on the ferry, and then down the west coast, and then went all the way down to a glacier, and then took a helicopter to the top of the glacier, hiked around, went into an ice cave, and then another time Aidan Turner and I jumped out of a plane at 16,500 feet.
Is this the kind of stuff that you don't tell the publicists?
At the time, yeah. You don't tell the producers until after you've finished shooting the movie. Yes. Otherwise they get a little bit angry.
Your transportation of choice, boat or barrel?
Barrel for the laughs.
Yes. Your favorite Middle-earth character?
Oh, it has to be Gandalf. I like Gandalf because I find that something's humoring him sometimes. I see it in his eyes in certain scenes, and you can see he's humored by the people or the characters or the creatures that he surrounds himself with. And I always think he's having much more of a better time than you think he is.
Which do you prefer?
Yeah.
Breakfast, second breakfast, 11sies, lunch, afternoon tea, dinner, or supper?
Probably breakfast and second breakfast.
And second breakfast.
Yeah. There's a bit of a hobbit in me, I think.
You're taking on the Crow, and have you started work on that? And how does it feel? Other actors have taken on the part that Brandon Lee originated. How does it feel stepping into those shoes, though?
Well, I feel a sense of responsibility to do a good job, but also to tell a story and add in source material, which is what we're doing. We're bringing source material that was never used in the original film. We're going right back to the beginning. It's not a sequel, it's a revisioning of the original story. So it'll be a very different story to the one that people are aware of with Brandon's performance and Brandon's film. But it'll be very loyal, and we have a lot of integrity to the original film, and I think with the group of people that we have making it now, they have so much care and attention and love for the original that we hopefully will provide a very good film.
Sure. Have you done makeup and costume?
No, not costumes. A little bit of makeup, and I'm in physical training at the minute. I just seem to go from one physical training job to another. One day I'll play a donut-eating sofa, whatever, I don't know, couch monkey. Anyway, at the minute that's what I'm doing. I'm just training and learning stunts and all that stuff.
And you wrapped up Dracula, The Untold Story. And you're taking on another iconic character. This is Vlad the Impaler. Could you tell us a little bit about it and how that experience was?
Yes, so the movie's called Dracula Untold, and it basically is the untold story of the origins of Dracula. So we're all very aware of the Bram Stoker part of Dracula's life, the vampire that lives in Transylvania, but not many people really have focused on the man, the historical figure, Vlad Tepes, who was also Vlad the Impaler to most people in the world. He's the man behind the literary legend of Dracula. So we are focusing on what made the man, the real man, turn into this character, this creature, and why he does what he does, and why he sacrifices certain things and the decisions that he makes in his life. And so it'll be a very enlightening adventure for people. It's full of action. It's hugely sweeping with its emotional threads. It'll be interesting because it's not what you'll expect. That's what's interesting, and that's why I did it, because it's a very interesting new telling of the origins of the most famous vampire in the world.
No fangs, plenty of blood.
There are fangs, yes, yeah. And most people think I actually have them in because I have these fangs of my own, but they're not. I do have fangs in the film, yeah.
Fang extensions, I guess, huh?
Fantastic.
That's good. I'll laugh at that one.
Yeah, well, you laughed. Nobody else will.
So let's talk about Bard and the very first scene that he has in this film, which is pretty impressive. What did you think when you read that in the script?
I thought it was awesome, yeah. I loved every minute of it because it's a very famous point in the, it's his introduction. Everybody's introduction is always exciting, but I loved Bard's introduction. It's very, very cool, Do that again and you're dead. I loved that line. It's great.
It's kind of badass as far as entrances go in films. How would you compare it to some of the other great ones that you've seen?
Well, I think everybody gets a good entrance in this film. I mean, Orlando gets a really great entrance. Lee Pace gets a great entrance. We all have our moments. It's important. I did find out as well that Howard Shore, the composer, writes different music for different characters. And so when I come on the screen, very subtly you'll hear the music change to my theme. And so when you're seeing Bard on the screen or in Lake Town, apparently the music is just different.
That's a good thing to know before you go into the film. So next time I go and watch it,
you can listen out for that.
Yeah. So obviously, people who know you know that you're in pretty good shape. Was there a special fitness though for this? And
no, not too much.
Probably nothing like The Immortals, right?
No.
The 8-pack.
No, nothing like The Immortals or the movie I've just finished, Dracula Untold. That was really, really insane. It was just about keeping fit enough to be able to do the stunts, and there's a lot of running around, and I was carrying a very heavy leather jacket, and also it was more about the stunts, and the weapon training was more important, I think, than having, a 6-pack or an 8-pack, as you say. I don't think anybody actually has 8-packs.
Did you do bow and arrow training with some of your co-stars?
I did, yeah.
Okay, what was that like, and who were you with?
Well, I was the only one using a longbow, obviously, because Bard uses a longbow. The dwarves have very short bow and arrows, and obviously Orlando and Evangeline have the elven bow and arrow. So we all had different weapons, but we were all pointing at the same target at the end of the room. So it was very fun. It became quite competitive at days.
I love that James Nesbitt's real-life daughters are in this. Can you talk about working with them? They play your little girls.
They play my little girls, yeah. It was wonderful, and they're beautiful girls, and neither of them have ever acted before, which is extraordinary. And they went through the whole thing, they tested for Warner Brothers, and they got the job. And they didn't just do the roles, but they did a Welsh accent, which is not their accent.
Because they're from Northern Ireland.
They're from, no, Jeremy's from Northern Ireland. They were brought up in the UK, but they can do Northern Irish accents brilliantly. And obviously they can do Welsh accents brilliantly as well. I don't know where they're able to do that and how they're able to do it, but they did it. And then we have the lovely John Bell, who's also from Scotland, also doing an accent. These kids are insane, they're so talented.
What was it like to be able to do your accent in this film? Was this the first time you got to speak as yourself?
Yes, it was. I actually did one line as a Welsh accent person in the Sex and Drugs and Rock and Roll, which was my film I did with Andy Serkis many years ago. But obviously I don't really count that as a role because he only had like 2 lines. But it was lovely to bring the Welsh accent into The Hobbit, which will now be, it'll be immortalized in this film as, anybody from ancestors who are from Dale will have a Welsh accent. So I like that.
That's awesome. You have Stephen Fry is involved in your storyline. What was it like to work with him? Because he's got a bit of an attitude in this one, his character.
He's quite brilliant, isn't he? He's as much as he's an awful, corrupt dictator of a town, and he's allowing his people, just townsfolk, to basically just rot. There's something quite brilliant about him as well. He plays it so well. Stephen Fry is a fantastic actor.
Who got to keep that painting of him? There's a painting of him in the film.
Oh, I have no idea. Maybe Stephen has it up in his bathroom somewhere.
It would be appropriate, wouldn't it?
It would be great.